Welcome back to the Charm of Williams Roadshow. With me, your host Charlotte Larkin, as we dive into another intriguing interview with the captivating artist Tommy Hoe. Thank you for joining me on our journey of captivating conversation with this multi-talented artist who wears many hats, singer, poet, and leader of the band, Tommy Hoe and the Barncats. In this exclusive interview, we'll delve deeper into the life and personal journey behind his soul-filled music and lyrics.
I started leaving home when I was 13 in the summers because the family needed money for one, and I wanted to get some decent clothes for myself rather than hand-me-downs all the time. And so I worked at a summer camp as a chore boy, hauling water in from the creek up to the camp there in metal milk containers, like you put milk in at the farm. And then, I'd strain it out of the creek into the milk jug through a linen towel to get all the, everybody drank it. I don't know where he died, and then I'd work on the roofs and doing little maintenance things around there. Nobody cared about taxes or Social Security, I guess. I don't know, they paid me. And then when I was 15, I took off and I went to Aspen, Colorado. I lied about my age. I got a job up there with a fellow by the name of Stuart Mace. Him and his wife Isabel lived up Castle Creek, and they had the world's largest husky kennels. He was in charge of the airdrops. He was with the 10th Mountain Division during World War II, and they dropped dogs and sleds into the Alps areas to take wounded out and take supplies in. And but anyway, he had dog sled trips he took these 12 miles up Castle Creek out of Aspen. He took the Kennedys, and Jimmy Stewart came up there that summer. And they ground all their own grains and everything. They were kind of health food fanatics. And anyway, I took care of the dogs, and I cut down trees for a power line. Ran a chainsaw up there, 15 years old, and worked my ass off. He liked me, kept me around I actually missed a month of school. I stayed longer.
I'm told that there was a rather embarrassing moment early on that almost ended your singing career at the start. Would you mind sharing that story?
Well, I started singing they'd have dances at the Grange Hall. I remember it was Babe Humphrey and Buck Teeters had a band called the Rainbow Valley Boys. And I would ask to sing with them because I always loved to sing. So I'd get up and sing songs I was in the 4th grade then. But we'd go to these things, and they'd have a potluck dinner, and then people would put they'd have bottles of whiskey out in their car. They'd go out there and drink whiskey, and gals and guys as kids would go out there to sneak around the cars watching them make out, But anyway, that's where I got to sing. And then when I was 10 years old, actually, this is kind of a funny story. My grandmother set me up with a deal singing at the Colorado Springs City Auditorium, which it was a Christmas show, and had probably over 1,000 people in it, so it was a big thing. And they had a band in there. Of course, they didn't have electric guitars and all that kind of stuff then, but they had the big microphones like the Glenn Miller band would have, you know. It was a big band, which directional picks up all the sound and everything. And I think his name was Hodges, came out with that I Saw Mama Kissing Santa Claus. And that was the song that I was to do. So I got up there, and my grandmother had me all decked out in a little suit thing, and I got up there. And they introduced me and said I was going to sing this song and everything. Well, to this day, when I get nervous, I get gassy. Okay, so I cut loose this big fart that echoed through the auditorium. And everybody started laughing. And I mean, it just echoed, roared through this auditorium. And the band's laughing, and I'm mortified. So I'm done. I'm not going to do this thing. See? And the sax player and the bass player pulled me aside and talked to me. He says, Tommy, you got to do this. Because if you don't, you'll never perform again. And they talked me into it, so I composed myself, turned around. This big band took off into the song, and I nailed it. I got a standing ovation. And now, to this day, if I ever am in a big crowd of people singing and start to get, and I get stage fright. For Christ's sake, Elvis got stage fright every time he got up. He had a problem. But I'll get stage fright. But I always remind myself, you know, I can fart in front of over 1,000 people and pull it off. I can do this thing now, you know.
Who inspires you as an artist?
We had an old Victrola that had 78 records, I guess they were then. The big, thick, heavy things, and you wound it up. But I listened to Glenn Miller and Orpheus. I like music, and I used to stand in front of it and direct it with a pencil, you know. And of course, Hank Williams, and all of the Sons of the Pioneers, the old, what I call cowboy songs, you know, that were really, we'd sit around the fire, my dad would sing them, and we'd harmonize. I miss that, because there's nothing like family harmony. When you got family, got their vocals are all kind of the same in a way, but when you're doing all these like 3-part harmonies, and sometimes 4-part harmonies, and it was a wonderful sound.
Let's talk about your songwriting process, shall we? And how has it developed over the years as music has changed?
I like my songs that I write to tell a story of some kind. I mean, I can remember hearing a song in the 60s, and it was called Poetry in Motion. I don't know if you ever remember that song. Poetry in Motion. And that's pretty what music is. But some of the stuff they have today, I don't know who the poets are, because they keep repeating the same word over and over and over and over, and they don't really tell a story. It's just, well, I guess maybe it's just things change, you know. I mean, there's some rap that I've listened to that I actually find interesting. You know, I realize that music is just a recreation of your environment, and that's why I think when you watch cartoons, animated things, and behind it, like if there's a bear chasing a bee or a skunk chasing a butterfly or whatever it is, they always have, you know, symphonic music behind it, because that was quiet and nice and kind of recreated nature, you know, in music. And a lot of this rap music recreates the asphalt jungle that the people that are right and live in. In my music, I grew up in the country, and I try, you know, country music inevitably has a sad story to tell. There's some that, Keith Whitley, who I really admire his singing and the songs he chose, tell a nice love story or something, that people can relate to. And that's what I try to do when I write a song.
Your career has spanned decades. Is there anyone you would like to share the stage with?
Well, most of those people that I would have liked to have, I've met them, but they're gone. Merle Haggard was a great songwriter. Well, Willie Nelson, I'd love to open up for Willie. I mean, I've met Willie, been on his bus with him, and actually smoked some weed with him, and which now it's illegal, so it's not a big deal. I don't think he does much smoking anymore. He's 90 now. He'll be 91 in April, 24, and he kind of has trouble with his wind anymore of the songs. But Garth Brooks, he's a phenomenal singer and entertainer, and I know that he originally was kind of a rocker when he started out, but he took country into a different, he really hit his mark on that. I actually was driving through Oklahoma and went through a little town in Yukon, Oklahoma, and on the water tower I looked up and it says home of Garth Brooks, and this town is just a spot in the road, Yukon, Oklahoma. Kind of out there in the brush piles of Oklahoma. I mean, I'm sure the wind howls through there and the dust blows, tumbleweeds everywhere. I've never met him, but he comes across as a genuine human being,
I'm going to ask if you would play us out with a song, and thank you for an engaging conversation. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the incomparable Tommy Hoe.
She said I used to do this when I had to, but I don't do that anymore. Sometimes I'd sit until the bar's closed, and then I'd stumble out the door. But if you would buy me one more whiskey, we could sit and talk a while. For yesterday is just a memory, and tomorrow's out of style. See, I'm a cold and lonely woman, and I'm hungry for a man, the kind who likes to kiss and hold me, takes the time to understand. There's nothing wrong with feeling lonely, there's nothing wrong with feeling blue, when you've been wanting to hold someone, wanting someone to hold you. I'll be your knight in shining armor, I'll chase those morning blues away. The lonely days will be forgotten, forgotten memories fade away. Yeah, we can talk under the moonlight, share conversation that is new. It doesn't matter how we do it, it's just important that we do. 'Cause there's nothing wrong with feeling lonely.
Studio services provided by Vecteezy.com. Your clicks can make a difference. Stick around to find out how you can easily contribute before you go. It's all about spreading positivity and making an impact. I'm Charlotte Larkin, and you've been watching Williams Roadshow. Until next time, we'll give you someone to talk about.